Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Andy and Scotty here, back for predictions part number 2. And we're here with the midfielders. So Scott's going to do this one. Have you got your list ready there, champ?
I do, Andy, I do.
All right.
I'm very excited. Who do you think will be number one? It might be a bit obvious.
A bit of obvious.
A bit obvious.
Rockcliffe, of course.
Rockcliffe at number one?
If it's not, you're going to have so much lip about that one.
All right, well, I'm going to start off with number 8, Lockie Neal.
Yes. Yes.
This kid is a beast. All right, so last year was his first year averaging 100 with an average of 101. He had 12 scores above 100, including 162, 151, 147, and 131, but had 7 scores below 80. If he can improve on consistency, then I reckon he should average close to 110 this year.
Yes, pretty easy first 5 games as well. And I think he'll never get tagged with Nat Fyfe in the middle. So I think he's a lock in my team. So I'm all for Lockie Neal this year.
Yeah, I've had him in my team for a little bit. Next midfielder, Taylor Adams coming in at number 7.
What a smoky for 2016. I'm excited about Adams.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be a beast. Like Neil, he was also his first year averaging over 100 with an average of 101. But he's a tad more consistent than Neil, I believe. He had 9 scores over 100, but 6 of them came in his last 7 games. But yet he still had 4 scores below 80, which is disappointing. Hopefully we'll start this year like he finished last year, and we'll push for that 110 average.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that one.
All right, next midfielder coming in at number 6, Jack Stephen.
Talk more.
All right, yep. It was his breakout season for Stephen, averaging 111, with his best before that being only 98. He had a massive 14 scores above 100 in 2015, with scores of 166, 142, 138, and 136. He's very consistent, had only 1 game below 80 all year, and he should average around the same this year, but I doubt he will improve on last year's average.
But you do notice that after a ripper year last year, he's going to cop all the attention in the midfield from taggers and run with players. You know that, right?
Yeah, he might. Every now and then it'll be going to Armitage, or maybe even Montagna might get it every now and then. Certainly not every week.
I'm going to call it now that I think both Adams and Neil will average more than him.
You believe
Just
that?
so it's on record.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, you're entitled to your own opinion. The next 2 or 3 mids all very close, I believe. But coming in at number 5 is Jordan Lewis.
What a gun. His start to seasons are absolutely incredible.
He's a beast. Last year was his second average over 100 for him with an average of 110. Had an amazing start to the season with his first 5 games with the lowest, all being over 100, with a lowest of 116 and a highest of 156. He got suspended for 1 week after that, then was out with injury, and most of us held on to him, which was very disappointing because he didn't come back as well. But this year I believe he will improve on his average by 0.2, and at the moment he's a very unique choice with 5.4%.
Is that all? Wow.
Yeah, 5.4.
I think that's actually a bit inflated after his 120 in the NAB Challenge number 1. So I think it was only 4%, which he is completely getting overlooked, which I guess has some credit to it after his sort of little fade out last year compared to his first half of the season. But I think he's going to just beast it this year.
Well, he's basically underpriced for what he did at the start of the year, so...
If he can do it for a whole season, yeah, I can see where you come from.
Yeah. Alright, so the next midfielder is JPK.
I don't know where this top 8's going, Scott. You've got JPK up there over... I don't know, I think I rate Neil a bit too much, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, JPK is one of my personal favourites, to be honest. That might have swayed it, but...
Wait. Everyone at home, just wait. Let me ask this question first. Is he in your team?
He is.
Oh, he is? Okay, I thought... All right, keep going
I've got
then.
all the top four, Andy, so calm down.
All right, keep going.
All right, so he was the fallen premium for 2015. He hit a rock bottom price of just under 500k midway through the 2015. Then after the bye, had 9 times 100 scores out of 11 games, averaging 118 over that period,
Jeez.
which is beast. And this year, I believe he'll increase his average by at least 5 points and should average 112 to 115.
Yeah, well, he's going to be an absolute gun this year. It's just... He could even win the Brownlow this year. You never know with him.
Yeah, well, he's a beast, and yeah, I love him. All right, so, and next midfielder, no worries with this one, Scott Pendlebury. The Pendlebury, or as some people call him. He will burn whoever doesn't start with him this year. He's that good. In his last 6 years, he has a lowest average of 106 with a highest average of 116. Last year, he had 16 scores over 100 with only one game below 80. He scores mainly in the teen 100s, but had scores of 152, 142, 141 and 135 last year, showing that he can go big. This year, I think his role will be more off half back, but I still think he's going to be a beast and average around 115 and maybe just a tick over.
I've got some input on Scotty Pendles. He did front the media last week, I believe, and he did say that he won't be playing in the back line. And when he will be resting, he'll be going forward. And I tell you what, last year, in my league game, I was versing someone with Pendlebury, and I didn't have him last year, to my despise. And he went forward against Gold Coast, and oh man, that made him even scarier to watch. So I don't think him going forward's a bad thing. I think he could snag a couple and just boost that score even more. So I might have to change my midfield because he's not in there at the moment.
Well, I thought he'd be better off half-back, to be honest. But if you say he did that well, then I don't know, he's a steal.
Yeah, he's always going to be good, but maybe a bit of time on the forward line could help him.
Yep. And now at number 2, pretty obvious pick here, Gary Ablett.
Not very obvious for some. I know a lot of people are tactically not having them in their midfield, thinking that he might get injured or he might play a lot more forward this year. So not obvious to all, but I definitely agree with you on that one.
Well, I wrote down in here I didn't really need to explain much, but it seems like I do, because whoever doesn't start with him is a spud, basically. He's as cheap as you ever get. He's a bargain for that price, which was inflated after last year's performance. In 2012, he averaged a massive 124 with 16 hundreds out of 20 games. He also averaged 119 in 2014, which included a score of 67 when he got injured, which had 11 scores out of 15 over 100. Last year, he came back from injury with scores of 119, 119 and 176. And this year, I believe he'll be able to go easily above 115 with an average of about 118 to 122, 125 as a maximum, I believe.
Oh, but Scott, he'll get tagged every week. To you folks that say that, those scores that he got last year, those 3, 120, 120, 176, he was tagged for every single one of those games. So
yeah, and one of those games was against Jacobs. That
exactly right.
That 176, I think that was against Jacobs.
Actually, I think he was tagged two of 3 of those games, which is still amazing. So he can still break a tag.
He's a beast. Well, that 176, he had 14 tackles.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps. Anyway, as the number 1, the pretty obvious
Who's it going to be?
Tom Rockcliffe.
Boring.
It's put in. Don't need to explain this one. Averaged 134 in 2014, with 15 scores over 100, including 11 of those being over 130. But wait, 7 of those were over 150. 7.
That is rocky, mate. And here's the stat for you. You've got all the stats for today's show, but I got one for you. 1 in 2 fantasy coaches don't have him.
Yeah, like, what's the correct percentage? 47.65%.
We don't have to worry about 53% of the competition winning.
Exactly. compared to Abbott's 48.5%. It's just crazy.
Yes, it is.
But I believe Rockcliffe will easily... He's a definite lock to average 130 for me.
Yeah, I think 125 to 135, anywhere in that range.
And I'd like to make a special mention to two players. Dan Hanbury. He averaged 110 last year with 13 scores above 100. He's a very unique selection at the moment. And if you do pick him, I reckon he'll be great for you.
Yeah, he's a bit unlucky not to make it, Scott, but you filled it with absolute guns. He just doesn't squeeze through.
Exactly. And another one goes to Paddy Dangerfield. He averaged 106 last year, and this year he should thrive in a new environment with loads of support around him. He will get the tag, but like you said a couple of videos ago, he coped with that last year and he should this year.
Yeah. All right. Well, good job, Scott. That was pretty plain,
Thanks, Andy.
but that means it's good. That means that I agree. So we'll see you guys next week. I'll be doing the rucks next week, which it's quite a guess to see who the top 2 rucks will be, that's for sure. I'll be working hard to research that one.
You putting a surprise in there, Andy?
Well, I'm going to name more than just the top 2, and there may be some surprises in a longer list. So
Matthew Leuenberger is number 1.
Oh, Scott, don't give away anything, mate, all right?
Oops, my bad.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week with the rucks. Take care.